Everybody wants to face each other. So is that where we're at right now with Canelo Crawford?
No. Crawford needs the money.
Crawford needs the money?
Yeah, he needs the money.
How can you convince fans that he can beat Canelo?
I ain't trying to convince y'all that he can beat Canelo. He's a good fighter.
You know, I'm gonna make all those doubters at the end of the day, at the end of the fight, they all gonna cry when they get home. You know, and I meant that.
When Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez face up in the ring, Gervonta Davis claims that Alvarez will disgrace him. He tells everyone that even Yurkus Gamboa injured him during their battle and emphasizes that Crawford is not unbeatable. This indicates that Canelo's stature and strength will be much too much for Davis. He thinks that they are clearly different from one another and that Crawford's previous vulnerability will reappear against a more formidable and dangerous foe.
How can you convince fans that he can beat Canelo?
I ain't trying to convince y'all that he can beat Canelo. He's a good fighter. But, bro, I would say smaller fighters are always better than bigger fighters because they're smaller, they know how to move and things like that. But this guy is great at what he do. He got. And another thing, bro.
The foundation of Terence Crawford's career has been disproving skeptics. The undisputed lightweight and welterweight champion is now aiming for the enormous task of going up against Canelo Alvarez at super middleweight. Despite worries about strength and size, Crawford is sure that his abilities will be evident. Crawford's ferocious declaration, which highlights his confidence and mental toughness before one of boxing's most audacious maneuvers, said that everyone who doubts him will go home crying after fight night.
You know, I'm gonna make all those doubters at the end of the day, at the end of the fight, they all gonna cry when they get home. You know, and I meant that. Everybody's talking about size, you know, me being a smaller fighter. But you look on the stage, I've been having sparring these big dudes my whole career. Like, I'm gonna take a punch. They punch me every time we spar. So, you know, it's okay. You know, once we get in the ring and they see something different, like each and every time, it's gonna be another excuse. Why, the reason why Terence won and this and that and that. But I can assure you, I'm gonna be victorious. After that, we're gonna have another parade.
One of boxing's biggest names at lightweight, Gervonta Davis, has expressed his opinions about the Canelo-Crawford fight in a public manner. Davis, who is well known for his devastating knockout power, has frequently selected Canelo to defeat Crawford. Considering that Crawford has never engaged in combat at such a high weight, he contends that Alvarez's inherent size, strength, and major fight experience will overwhelm Crawford. Even against a fighter as talented as Crawford, Davis believes Canelo is the safer pick due to his track record in several divisions.
Gap between Canelo and Terence Crawford, Tank is going to pick Canelo to knock Crawford out. We all know Tank had his little run-ins with Bud and things of that nature, to where Bud said he will fight Tank at 147, which is crazy to me, right? Tank ain't going to no damn 147. But nonetheless, Gervonta Tank Davis go ride with Canelo, and, you know, he a smart man. He a smart man. Because I think everybody and their mama see that, you know, Canelo Alvarez is too big for Terence Crawford, just like Terence Crawford knew it. But Gervonta Tank Davis always picked Canelo over everybody. Doesn't matter who it is.
Canelo Alvarez has the best resume and experience in contemporary boxing. Since facing Floyd Mayweather early in his career, Alvarez has continuously put himself to the test against more formidable foes. Canelo supporters contend that despite his skill at sparring, Crawford has not yet encountered opponents of the same class as bigger opponents. Canelo's confidence is bolstered by his experience of overcoming size obstacles as he gets ready for another great battle.
I don't see Crawford knocking Canelo out. If Canelo lets Crawford get away with boxing, he may have a shot. If Canelo comes in there and boxes and cuts the ring, Canelo has a chance of knocking Crawford out.
What?
Yeah.
You said Canelo got a shot at knocking Crawford out?
I think he does.
Wow.
Remember, Crawford coming up for 135. And I don't know if y'all remember when he fought Gamboa. Gamboa rocked him a little bit too. And we talked about Canelo Alvarez.
That was a long time ago. If we gonna do that, Canelo got rocked by Jose Miguel Cotto.
I didn't know that. But on the real, Canelo has faced a bigger opposition. He's faced a bigger and a harder punchers. Who has Crawford faced that's a big puncher? Canelo's taking more hard punches than Crawford. The tale of the tape is going to be if Crawford can take the power from Canelo, and can Canelo box with Crawford and potentially hurt him and finish the fight.
When assessing this contest, analysts have been eager to urge fans not to depend on previous comparisons. Terence Crawford is not Floyd Mayweather, and Canelo Alvarez is not Errol Spence Jr. Canelo contributes his own distinct style, granite chin, explosive power, and upper body movement. Crawford is also unmatched in his versatility and switch-hitting skills. Experts stress that historical blueprints cannot be used to gauge this battle. Rather, it symbolizes a novel style clash between two exceptional fighters who each offer a unique element to the ring.
Crawford is a dog, that's a fact. Heart of a lion, that's a fact. Great boxing, great skills, high IQ. Future Hall of Famer, that is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. You know what else is a fact, ladies and gentlemen? Terence Crawford cannot afford to get hit with these same shots by someone Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is not the mean machine. Canelo Alvarez is not Sean Floyd. Canelo Alvarez is not Gamboa, and he's for damn sure not Errol Spence Jr. Just like Terence Crawford is not Floyd Mayweather or Lara. We trying to say that Bud's gonna do the same thing that Mayweather was able to do. Two different styles, two different type of fighters. Mayweather is a pure boxer. Terence Crawford is not a pure boxer. That does not mean that he can't box. Before y'all try to kill me in the comment section. Yes, he has the ability to do a box, but Terence Crawford is a boxer puncher, ladies and gentlemen. He gives angles, but he doesn't move like a Floyd Mayweather or a Lara. He's not on his toes like that. And he also likes to exchange when he gets hurt, and that can be to his detriment. And if he exchanges with Canelo a little too long, it might be NyQuil time. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about this in the comment section.
Canelo Alvarez comes into the battle with an advantage because to his stature and experience. He routinely fights at 168 pounds. Although it is new for Crawford, Canelo has faced several opponents who are eligible for the Hall of Fame. Crawford, on the other hand, is thought to be the most technically proficient fighter in the sport right now. He is a nightmare for any opponent due to his timing, counterpunch, and stance-changing skills. As a result, this clash puts skill and flexibility against size and experience.
Boxing odd makers have Canelo versus Crawford Gillette close. Now obviously Canelo has the size advantage. He's 3 weight divisions heavier than Crawford. And most people believe that Crawford carries the skill advantage, being an overall more skilled fighter. Neither guy is known for tremendous defense, but it's still solid. And of course, they're both chiseled into the Mount Rushmore of pugilism for their ironclad wills. The one area that people say Canelo might have the advantage is in experience fighting heavier dudes. Now, obviously, all fighters spar out of their weight classes. But when it comes to actually fighting in the pro ranks with those 10-ounce gloves, Canelo's the only one between the two of them that has a multitude of experience fighting super middleweights and light heavyweights in the pro ranks. So does this slight advantage give Canelo the nod and make him a bit of a favorite? Or is Crawford going to prove that size doesn't matter and it's skills that pay the bills? What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments.
Abel Sanchez, a seasoned trainer, voiced serious concerns about Terence Crawford's decision to take on Canelo Alvarez. Sanchez claims that Crawford's physique and natural weight have never allowed him to fight at this level, making the challenge a dangerous leap. He underlined that even the most accomplished fighters may be exposed to disadvantages that cannot be overcome by talent alone if they advance too quickly. Sanchez gave the example of Dimitri Bivol defeating Canelo. Even though Bout was a naturally light heavyweight with significant size and style advantages, he still had to give it his all to win. He made a really clear point. If a larger, more powerful fighter like Bob had to exert all of his might, then Crawford's challenge to Alvarez would face an even more formidable obstacle. Sanchez's remarks highlight how big of a task Crawford is taking on.
He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I just think that moving up in weight without having fights to merit that I think it's the wrong move, but he couldn't handle a 154-pounder the way that he was handling everybody else before. And Madrimov is not Canelo. Canelo's been used to fighting all the bigger guys and has done very well with the bigger guys. Nobody's heard of him. Nobody's heard of him. He's fought the biggest fight. He fought Gennady. Come on, he fought Gennady twice, really the good fights. And then Bivol hit him with everything and couldn't hurt him. So how's Terence gonna do that? I don't think he can. I see Canelo going away maybe in a 16-12, 17-13 kind of fight. The first 3 or 4 rounds will be difficult for Canelo, or a little harder for Canelo because of the speed. But once he is, just like when Golovkin fought Kell Brook, you know, the first 3 or 4 rounds where Kell was fast. But Terence is going to expose himself when he throws his punches, and Canelo's going to finally get this timing down, and I think we'll be able to control the fight.
Do you see a version of Canelo now that is slowing down? Obviously, a lot of people might point towards the Williams school fight, but again, despite how that one played out, people talk about his lack of motivation maybe for a fight like that. But do you see this version of Canelo declining?
No, I think the lack of motivation because of the opponent could have been the reason for that fight. I think these guys at that level, once they get a name, they're looking at a name. It's a different story. They're not only their motivation, but they're waking up earlier in the morning to go run. All those things come into play because they know they have a challenge ahead of them.
One thing with the weight, and again, Buddy spoke to me about this, is he said that if he was Terence, he'd come in just over the 160 limit, so he's just inside the 168 limit to try and keep a bit more of that speed instead of just like bulking up. Did you agree with that sentiment, or if you was Terence, would you just bulk up?
Well, let me say this. Like everybody else, I read or I watch some of the writings on the internet, and to see that Terence is weighing 186, 190 pounds, I think that's completely the wrong way to do it.
Crawford's preparation alarmed renowned trainer Robert Garcia, who has worked with several world winners. Garcia cautioned that rapidly gaining weight can detract from a fighter's innate abilities, especially reflexes and speed, which characterize Crawford's approach. Additionally, he brushed off parallels to Floyd Mayweather, telling supporters that Mayweather always fought intelligently and within his weight constraints. For Garcia, if the additional weight slows him down or compromises his stamina, Crawford's genius might not entirely translate to super middleweight.
Look, with Crawford, I think gaining too much weight and too much muscle might affect them. If they're thinking of surviving and being able to take a punch and being able to go around, then they're trying to maybe go the distance and they'll be happy with that. But I think Crawford's natural talent, Mayweather had it. You know, you guys were just mentioning it right now that Crawford, Mayweather never needed to gain weight and never needed to be heavy to be able to beat those bigger guys. I think Crawford's skills, we give Crawford a chance because we know how good he is, how, you know, his skills, his speed, his combinations. But if he's gaining so much weight, he might not be able to do those. He might not be able to have the same skills when it comes to his speed, his footwork, because of the weight. So we'll see. You know, I just hope he's not just training and getting big to survive and go the distance, because maybe that's a win for him. Maybe he's thinking, if I go the distance with him, that's a big win for me. So, you know, I just hope not. I expect Crawford to actually pull up some runs and maybe pull up the fight. But if he's too heavy, too big, he's gonna get hit, and he's gonna have to exchange punches, and that's where the danger comes in.
Clarissa Shields, a multi-division champion and two-time Olympic gold winner, contributed to the discussion. She politely disagrees with boxing veteran Shane Mosley's prediction that Canelo will dominate Crawford, Shields pointed out. Shields goes in Crawford's direction, pointing to his versatility and skill set as reasons he can get past the size gap. Her viewpoint is significant because she is among the greatest female fighters in history and has long respected Crawford's technical skill and mental toughness.
Like, all due respect to Shane Mosley,
Sure.
he just said that Terence Crawford was going to get watched by Canelo. I don't think his word is really worth that much.
Do you think she need a year?
No, she needs till January, February. That's the timeline. She needs 6 to 8 months. She said out of her own mouth that she's in shape. She can come back. She told me that I'm too small for her. I'm not skilled enough for her. She punches too hard. And if she comes to get me, I won't be able to keep her off me. So stand on that, take this $15 million, and come get your ass whooped.
Trainer Rob Aosta vehemently defended Terry Crawford when detractors questioned his physical alteration in the run-up to the much-awaited bout. Crawford's recent weight gain may not have been natural, according to some observers, but Aosta flatly denied these theories. He emphasized that discipline, a meticulously planned diet, and the demanding requirements of his training camp were the causes of Crawford's physical transformation. Aosta asserts that Crawford has consistently been among the sport's most dedicated and reliable athletes. He clarified that Crawford's reputation has been based on his unparalleled commitment to preparation as well as his talent. The instructor emphasized that every step from diet to conditioning, every aspect of Crawford's program was meticulously tracked and carried out. Boxing fans and commentators were advised by Aosta to put aside unfounded charges and concentrate on the actual battle. For Aosta, he clarified that Crawford's enhanced body is the result of months of sacrifice and hard work rather than a quick fix. Crawford's desire for greatness and willingness to take on new challenges in the ring are what really tell the tale.
Okay. PBs. You've been hearing a lot about Terence Crawford and Victor Conte as of late.
I've seen that. Yeah,
people are making accusations. People are insinuating that Crawford is indeed doping, and based off of his recent size, and they're not used to Terence Crawford looking this big. But give me some insight into that. Give me some insight into fighters walking around with PEDs and criticism of the guy that hasn't tested positive versus the guy in the same fight that's tested positive and the team that's tested
positive. First, I don't think Crawford is taking anything. I don't think he is. I think just the size difference in what he walks around to what he's been looking lately, that is that's just something that possibly, that's how he walks around. Now, Crawford's physique, he's the type of guy that if he becomes heavy, it shows in his face, it shows in the obliques, but he still got abs, he still got definition in his chest. You know what I mean? So he could just possibly just look like that. Now, mind you, there's still a decent amount of time. We're still talking about 4 weeks. So I'm curious to see how either wherever he is, the cut goes, or however low he goes, how it gets constructed on the way in.
Analysts have stated time and time again that Canelo Alvarez's form may have a greater influence on the result than Crawford's modifications. Some of Canelo's recent outings missed the explosiveness of his best work. He will be challenging to defeat if he adopts his previous strategy of applying pressure to opponents with deft combinations and great stamina. He runs the risk of being outboxed, though, if he undervalues Crawford or fights cautiously. Canelo views this battle as both a defense of his reputation and a return to his former dominance.
In regards to Canelo's meaty workout, so what do we see there? We see a little bit of what he wants to do to take advantage of a right-hand southpaw matchup. Get his lead foot on the outside, bang the right hand down the pipe, set it up with the jab, and maybe even fire that jab at the lead hand of Crawford to just get it touch, step outside right hand down the middle. We saw Canelo doing a lot of cross-stepping, which is, I think, a bad idea versus someone who has good angle manipulation like Crawford does. Right? Every wasted movement is going to be a capitalization for Crawford to try to fire back on. And Canelo is going to be there to be hit with some counter punches. Make no mistake about it, Canelo will stand in the pocket. Yes, he'll try to make Crawford miss, but sometimes he'll even eat a couple so that he can be there behind that high guard, taking punches to look for one of the big ones on his own counter shot. So that can be a little bit of the gamesmanship too. That can be a little bit of the chess game going on, is who's going to land the bigger counter punch and how many of those can Crawford take moving up to 168 versus Canelo, who has been there and is fighting a guy that has fought at a lot smaller weight, that hasn't seen the power, like we talked about, the narratives being built, that Canelo brings at 168. Even now, all those things will come into play. I think a big important part of this fight is just how much Canelo utilizes his lead hand, because I'm telling you, it's going to be the most important thing in this fight. I really think if Canelo is back on his jab and is able to mask some of the stuff that he loves to do, which is that lead hook to the body, smashing hook on the arms, on the body, on the shoulders. He's able to hide it just a little bit and then hit you with that timing, that Canelo Alvarez timing that's been perfect, that put down Amir Khan, that put down Billy Joe Saunders, that found the button on Kovalev.
Okino, a rapper and boxing analyst, provided a straightforward yet important viewpoint. Whether Crawford can resist Canelo's power might determine the outcome of the entire bout. At lesser weights, Crawford has proven to be resilient and strong. but Canelo's punches at 168 are unmatched. If Crawford can withstand such blows without losing his cool, the battle might turn into a skillful game of chess. Otherwise, Canelo's unmatched strength can put an early end to the fight. Oino captivated the thoughts of many fans. This one question is what gives the conflict its drama.
Let me ask you a question. You're a boxing fan, right?
Yeah, bang.
Canelo versus Terence Crawford. Like right now, according to betonline.ag, Canelo's favored -180. Crawford's 139. That means that if you bet on Canelo, you'd have to bet $180 to make the $100.
That's not that bad.
It's almost 2-to-1 odds.
Yeah, but
almost.
Canelo stuff used to be way crazier than that.
Terence Crawford's no joke, though.
You know, I mean, I would bet on Terence Crawford in the fight.
So you would bet on Terence Crawford?
Yeah.
Why?
He never lost. Mayweather beat Canelo real easy. And I don't think Terence Crawford...
Mayweather beat Canelo way early on. Way early on.
And, but...
Plus it's Mayweather.
Listen, Law is Mayweather. He cheat code. But I think if anybody can beat Canelo, it's Terence Crawford. I mean, I'm not betting against somebody that never lost. You know what I mean? Now, if Terence Crawford take his punches, that's what we got to see.
Yeah, September 13th in Las Vegas.
That's going to be the biggest fight ever, bro.
It'll be on Netflix.
I think it's going to be the biggest fight ever.
Yeah, Canelo's getting $150 million. Crawford's getting $50 million. Huge paydays for everyone involved.
I think we'll get probably back end money, too.
Yeah.
Well, how does that work? Because it's not pay-per-view. Do they still...
Netflix putting up the money.
So I'm saying, so they don't get no back end then?
No, there is no back end. There's ticket sales.
Yeah, pay-per-view, the back end is the most.
There's no pay-per-view.
I guess if you give me $50 million up front, I don't really care about the back end. You give me
but Netflix doesn't do back ends, period. Like even
so
on
he
movie
get
deals.
3 times more than Terence Crawford? God damn. That's crazy, bro. I would at least think it'd be 2 times.
Would you turn down $50 million?
Not even 5.
So,
I know
today you could be pocket watching the other boxer, but at the end of the day, you're still getting $50 million.
Yeah, $50 million.
Biggest payday he's ever gotten in his life, even after taxes and whatever.
Like, I just think he was enough of a draw that he can get at least half of what he was getting. Well, of course, $50 million. Like,
well, Canelo has the whole like Latin community. You gotta think that's a huge.
But yeah, I remember Terence Crawford's last fight's been sold out just like Canelo.
No, I mean they all sell out. Terence is a beast. I just feel like Canelo's kind of a bigger figure.
He a bigger figure, but I think he was that 3 times bigger. This fight's gonna be insane.
Hey man, it's all about negotiations.
You know what it was? Because you know why probably they be getting so much less because Canelo had to take it. Canelo scared of Benavidez though. Period. And I don't think he can beat Benavidez at all. I would bet on Benavidez.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.